So thanks a lot for joining in, everyone. So my name is Aki. So my background is in machine learning. I've been doing this for the last 12 plus years. Done a PhD, done a postdoc. I went down the whole academic route where I want to be a professor, and then like suddenly switched. Well, it's not something I enjoy much. So I switched to industry. I was head of AI engineering at a financial services firm in London, and then moved on to do my own firm that focused on building AI tools for like North American and European companies. So yeah, so this is my sort of quick background. And I've seen like sort of this Claude Code sort of popping up in the last 1 year or so. I think like yeah, it's like a year ago. When I first started it, like it was like not the best tool. I mean, they have like a really good model, but there's a lot of sort of ad hoc sort of tooling that we had to do. So I think like today we're gonna like sort of look into like what Claude Code looks like and what it can do, and yeah, and have a discussion on like sort of limitations and like what sort of things like Claude Code can't do as well. Because I think like so I'm predominantly started with Cursor, like predominantly Cursor, but I now run Claude Code within Cursor to sort of build software and other kind of things. So yeah, so that's the main focus for today. Um, as you go on, like feel free to ask questions in the chat if and I'll hopefully see them, and when they come up, I'll try my best to sort of tackle them. Or towards the end, we'll have a discussion too. So today's agenda is like so the main focus is to sort of look into sort of the reframing of Claude Code, what it can do, and like what it sort of um, rather than just thinking about from a code point of view, like what are the other sort of capabilities of Claude Code, and then we'll do a quick demo and sort of show that what it looks like. Start from scratch so that we understand what sort of permission requests that it sort of pops out, and what sort of things that you can do. And at the end, so we have a sort of a Q&A sessions to answer any question that you may have. Feel free to sort of ask them as we go so that we can pick them up at the end. So I think like we start from the beginning, like sort of why this matters, right? So sort of AI coding tools like very sort of easy to try, but very hard to use. So the idea is that if you look at in the past sort of like 1.5, 2 years, like we've seen like thousands of like probably thousands or tools that pop up, open source ones like VC backed companies, private open source, etc. Uh, but the issue is it's very hard to sort of use in the right way, because it takes a bit of time to sort of get used to the nuances, the limitations. There's a lot of sort of hype as well. So because of that, it's very hard to sort of figure out. So Claude Code, I still have mixed feelings about this still, because it has like really strong features, but also has like certain limitations. So I sort of because of that I use Claude Code with Cursor, so that's where we can sort of like have best of both worlds. So this is the main thing. So I think the first thing to think about is like rather than just thinking about code, you need to sort of reframe this to think about just this Claude being this not just from a code point of view, but it has this like fundamental sort of features where it can run locally. So that means obviously you don't need to sort of uh, like go somewhere else to run it, like not in the browser. You can sort of run it locally, and it's sort of rather than think about like Python files, like JavaScript files, like you sort of consider everything as artifacts. So whatever that's in your sort of folder, like can be sort of accessed, and sort of you can sort of manipulate them as you see fit. So Claude Code predominantly sort of like focus on building code, but also it can be used to do other things. Like I don't know, if you need to create like a PDF file, if you need to create like a slide deck, you need to sort of do some data transformation. So you can do all of this within Claude Code. Um, and and yeah, so it's not just like a conversation, you're not just to explore things, you can sort of act. So because you have like agents, you have sub agents within Claude Code, and then so that's where sort of like the sort of the Claude Code sort of comes into play. So the general thing to think about is like Claude Code is a sort of a agent that runs on your terminal, and that can do operations on your artifact, whether it's generating code, operating different sort of moving things around, so doing analysis. Like there's a lot of things that it can do. So that's the sort of the general sort of reframing regarding Claude Code. So if you look at it, like if you compare that with like something like a chatbot, because it has a chat feature at the end of the day. So like ChatGPT or general Claude, sort of Anthropic Claude sort of models. So you have these short sessions. It can't necessarily do anything. I mean, you do have certain agentic features, but it can't necessarily sort of interact with your sort of local environment. So like massive issues around context. But if you look at Claude Code, it helps you to run multiple agents in parallel, do large context. Like if you have like larger code bases, you can do that and sort of operate on files, folders, reports, and multiple reports as well. So if you have, let's say, where you have a front end and a back end sort of a code, and then you need to operate both, sort of do something sort of considering both these code repos, you can do that relatively easily. So that's like one of those really good features about Cloud Code compared to Cursor, where you have like pull things in, and then it needs to sort of have that in the environment to run that. So if you look at from a sort of a fundamental high level, like how do you sort of think about Claude Code? So you sort of explore like what it can do, you plan out. So you go to some sort of a repo or a folder that you may have. You can sort of figure out like what is out there. If it's like a already existing code base, you can explore what is there, and you can plan what you need to do. You need to build a feature. You need to fix a bug. So you can do all of that in the planning stage, and then you can sort of uh, run it locally, build that, and check if that is working, and then you can directly push it to GitHub. So all of this can be operated from the terminal itself. So through natural language, you can operate this. So that's like a really good feature to have. So that's just some of the general sort of workflow that you use when you use Claude Code. So yeah, I think like just want to like dive right into it. Like so there are like I want to like quickly show like what you can build and how it looks like with Claude Code. Let me sort of pull out my so weirdly enough, I'll be using cursor, which is a bit counterintuitive. Let me browser. You guys can see my screen. Yeah, cool. All right, so this is Cursor. It's another tool that is an IDE, integrated development environment, that helps build software. So you can have Claude Code within this, or you can have this separately on a terminal. So I like to have it here so that I can open files and things like that. So that's relatively easy. So I'm not gonna like use Cursor's features in this one. I'm gonna use I'll go to terminal and open a new terminal. So right now I have sort of installed Claude Code locally. So this is relatively simple thing to do. But if you guys haven't tried that, I'll sort of go into that at the end in a bit. But I want to like try and sort of like go through some of these iterations to show what this looks like. So if you go to the terminal, if you type Claude, um, so yeah, so it's generally Claude asks this kind of a question when you sort of type this in. So we want to make sure that it you need to give permission unless you set the settings to automatically sort of get access. But I think that's not the right way to do it. So you need to like explicitly give fit permission. You can toggle between the two and then say it's continue, so you give access, so you get this like very like yeah pretty UI, and you can sort of do a lot of things here. So right now we have a fresh folder. We don't have anything, so there are two ways we can go about this. Like either we get a repo and sort of do edits, but I'm going to try and like start from scratch, so it might not look like very complex, but I want to like go through like some of these features that Code has. So one of the things is like I'm going to try and see um, I'll create like a very simple file. Create a simple hello Python script and run it. So it's a loaded request, but if you look at it, um, so yeah, it is sort of planned it out. But even though it created for it to save, to edit this, it needs to have permission. So we have three options. You can like say yes, or you can say during the session that you logged in, you can sort of switch and have that permission given to rest of the session. So you do that. Um, and start sort of yeah, so as you can see it's run another agent, so it ran the script, but now it needs to run the Python script because I've not just asked it to create the script but also ask it to run it as well. So it's taking to the next stage and it's asking for permission because this is a different script, and different permission, so you need to make sure that you got the right kind of permission. So I'm going to go and select two. So within this folder I want it to have permission to run Python commands. So it's running it. I don't know if you noticed that this created something called .clode folder, and it ran it. So here is the command that it ran. So it got hello world here. But one of the important things right now to see is what it created. So obviously there was hello world, simplest script that you can run, but it created this permissions file. So this sort of stores the right kind of permission that this Claude instance has within this folder. So it can run Python commands, Python 3 commands, but nothing else. So if you ask it to a simple Streamlit UI to visualize this and run that for me. So ask it to add a Streamlit UI. So Streamlit is a Python sort of a framework that it can sort of run um, front end, generate front ends using Python. So it's now sort of asking me for permissions for that. So I'll just keep giving permission. So when you first start off, make sure to like check what you're giving permission for, because this can sort of wipe off files, move file things around. So it's very important that you have sort of control. And then like for installing virtual environment. So when you give that, there was an error here. So it's like showing up like, okay, you can't do this, there's an error. So it's sort of recent here, um, like the issue that came up, and so it's going to create a virtual environment because it's better to like within Python, it's always you should run Python sort of installations within a virtual environment rather than your local repo. So I think like Claude understands this and sort of does that, and you can see like the time it takes, the number of token it takes for this interaction, it sort of shows up. These are all like sub agents that are running right now, and those are getting sort of yeah, those are getting so you have another question. So yeah, I think it's trying to run. Yeah, so this to so it ran this like extremely like local running, so it's automatically ran this. So one of the simplest ways, but you can do multiple things, right? So this is like quite simple, and I can ask it to. So it's running it now, and it stopped. So this is running on this service endpoint. It's fine, but now I want to do. Can you um, let me know what folders are what's in this folder? So it's doing like a command to like bash script to try and figure out what sort of information is there, so it can sort of figure out the folder structure, like what is out there. So you can do like going beyond like so not trying to like spend too much time on building code here because yeah, there's thousand things we can do right now. Okay, so yeah, I think like so just want to like highlight, yeah, so you could like um, do like not just coding, you can do other things with Claude Code. And similar to Cursor, like it has sort of powers like Cursor. You can open these up and like can build a lot of things, and like you can build front ends, like backend services. You can build multiple services together so that agent can control. I think like that's the beauty of this. Like yeah, myself, like yeah, as I said earlier, I would like use in conjunction with cursor rather than on its own. So that's the only sort of drawback that I see. Like I haven't fully sort of transformed myself to Cloud Code 100%. I still have cursor open so that I can go through some of the files when errors come up. But I think like towards the end of this year or middle of this year, we'll see like these fully agentic sort of platforms come up where we might not need to like sort of see these things visually. You can sort of trust what the AI sort of reads and emits, so you can start building within like a terminal itself. So if you look at Devin, like so there are other tools, Jules from Google. So all these tools let you sort of prompt and sort of build software, not necessarily look at the code, but you see look at the outcome and you sort of measure if things are working properly. So that's the sort of direction that we are going. Whether it's good or bad, it's a whole discussion, but the more sort of the venture capital funding is going to these kind of tools. So I think Claude is one of the best examples out there. So I think yeah, so I think like so I'll sort of wrap up the slide deck and like give you guys time to ask questions. So I think that's where sort of the interesting thing happens. If you guys need to like sort of explore other things within Cloud Code, like build certain things, we could go into that. But I'll like go back to quickly slide decks. Um, yeah. Um, One of the things, yeah, so if you have like let's say like a big code base, the other thing is that you can sort of use it to like sort of explore the code base super fast. You can create like a very informed diagram as well. So I didn't do that because I mean obviously we did hello worlds. It doesn't make sense to do it. But if you go and ask it like to ask us to like generate the architecture diagram and generate the PRD. So it's reasoning out how to do it. It might ask for some permission from me. So like one of the good things about like obviously vibe coding and like using AI tools to build applications is you can sort of use it to build application. And when you get to a position that you feel comfortable, if the right kind of features are there, you could use the AI itself to generate the PRD, generate the architecture diagram. So you can sort of use that to sort of get to the engineering team or to your even for yourself to refer to that later. So you can sort of improve the adjust, I would say, the way that we normally operate, like where you start with a PRD and architecture diagram, where you sort of switch the order. You start building directly with these kind of tools and you get it built. And after that, generate the PRDs and things like that. And you can sort of transfer that to the actual team who are sort of going to productionize this. I think something got built, but I don't know, like, yeah, I probably need to open this. Say, yeah, ask to open it as well. Sorry, I think there was a still running. So yeah, I think like the sort of went ahead the Cloud Code architecture. Yeah, I think like so because we had the previous conversation, I was like not the actual product. We sort of asked about the to generate a slide deck about Claude Code. It went ahead and sort of did a entire PRD about Claude Code. So I mean that's fine, but the idea is that if you have this initial conversation with your tool, you can build stuff like this super fast. So you have the PRD, you have the architecture diagram. This one, the architecture diagram. So all of this information. So this is like a really good sort of a architecture diagram for us to understand how Claude Code works. So these like core subsystems, permission system, agent orchestrator, task planner, context manager, all of this information. This is how Claude works. And then yeah, so you interact with it. So the point I want to make here is that you can use the agent to generate the PRD and architecture very easily. So you don't have to draw these things from scratch, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think if we go back to the slides. Yep. Sorry. This one. Yeah. So coming back to the slide, I think like the because Claude can sort of own sort of the drafting, execution steps, and iterations. So as humans, like the engineers, like the PMs, can sort of manage the intent. You can control constraints where like what sort of files get edited and the final decision. So because you are the one who actually made the final decisions. So this is how the best way to use Claude. And so yeah, and it gives you a lot of flexibility and sort of execution power, but you make the final call and then put the right kind of constraints around the product that you're building. Um, I think if you look at it like where people sort of get burnt is around like sort of vague instructions. So having the right kind of prompts. So we didn't explore things like CLAUDE.md, the README file that sort of put instructions within Claude, so that you start with planning mode, and then you create the actual plan that you want to get built. So that becomes this Claude sort of the guiding principle. So it stays as sort of a system prompt. So it refers to that when you start to do something so that it becomes this reference point. So stuff like this, having kind of a plan, and then if you don't have the right kind of verification, like authorization on what to edit and when to edit, especially like if you automate things, like it can go out of control. I think like somebody asked a question before, like where like how much of control I should give. So this automation is one good example. So you need to have the right kind of sort of control within Claude Code and the right kind of permissions, etc. So that's where the best sort of outcome would come from Claude Code. Um, so yeah, I think like as I said, like we sort of didn't cover today, like the stuff like sort of Claude, sort of the README file, how to tune that, how to add guardrails, which is like broader topic. So the purpose of this is to just introduce Claude Code and show that what sort of things it can do, the code edits and different kinds of generations around like PRDs, architecture diagrams, and things like that. So we didn't go into like permissions, allow list, so reusable workflows, and like how you can sort of create these patterns that can be used across entire teams. So to cover that, we have like a longer session, obviously, and you'll get a lot of information through email. But I think just want to like let you guys know, like whoever joined this conversation would have access to like a massive discount. And within this class, we'll sort of go through how to sort of run Claude Code effectively, and then like how do you sort of build things from scratch when we build like a much more bigger product using Claude Code, and how do you do edits, etc. And how do you have the right kind of guardrails in place so that Claude Code won't go out of control. So yeah, so that's the purpose of this conversation. And we'll cover these topics, and how do you um, sort of build actual software with Claude Code rather than just vibe coding. And this is for developers and engineers, and also PMs who wants to use Claude Code. So we sort of like go over like starting from scratch, so go into a lot of detail. Um, and yeah, so whoever joined the session, you got 30% off. Use Claude 30 as the code. Starts on Jan 24th. Myself and my co-instructor Mono will join the session, and yeah, we'll go in deep about how to learn Claude. So we also have this document, which is that you can share with your employee. So if you need to get reimbursed, you can sort of use this directly, where you can get a letter for you to sort of get this reimbursed. So right now I'll like leave for Q&A. So yeah, I'll let you guys ask questions. Sorry, I think there might be, yeah, Patricia, no worries. Yeah. Are there specific questions? So yeah, I'm happy to take questions, guys. So like feel free to sort of shoot any question that you may have. In the meantime, no worries, Joe. Do reach out if you guys have any questions around Claude Code in AI in general. So happy to sort of like answer any questions you may have. Um, yeah, cool. Yeah, I think we can wrap it up here. If you guys don't have any questions, I mean, do reach out like for further
Can
discussion.
we connect with you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I do. Please, Kaba, feel free to like, yeah, connect with me. I share the link on the chat. Send a link, send a message. We can connect and have a chat. Yeah.
I just connected with you.
All right, cool. Sounds good. Thank you, Vincent. Thanks a lot for joining in. So yeah, as usual, feel free to like connect and ask questions around Cloud Code. So yeah, it's a really powerful tool, and like there are nuances around how to use that, and super excited to see what you guys build with Cloud Code. Amazing.